Good morning. All right. I'm Bill Covino, president of Cal State L.A. Thank you all for joining us today. I'm here to announce a major victory for Cal State L.A. First, before we move in that direction, I just want to take a moment and recognize, and I can't see him here, but we know that he's around somewhere, probably working hard somewhere. Dan Bridges has been our athletic director for 10 years. Ten years of great successes, great achievements, building programs that are the envy of so many, and creating the kind of community around athletics and student athletes that makes us all proud. So, Dan is moving on to retirement, and that has given us both the challenge and the opportunity to point Cal State LA into a new era, Cal State LA athletics into a new era. And in that regard, we are pleased to welcome back to Los Angeles a native son, Mike Garrett. Mike will be the university's new executive director for athletics. He will oversee our intercollegiate sports programs, and he will get us ready for a new era of athletic and academic excellence. In so many ways, Mike Garrett is the perfect person to help lead us. He reflects in so many ways what we as a university represent. As so many of you know, at Cal State LA, we are pushing boundaries. We are pushing the boundaries of excellence, pushing the boundaries of possibility. We're doing so in academics. We're doing so in public and community service. We're doing so in the classroom. So a first-rate athletics program has been and is part of our overall quest for excellence. When Mike Garrett left our community for college, some people thought he was, they've told me this, Mike, some people thought he was undersized. But of course, he pushed himself to become a Heisman Trophy winner, a Super Bowl champion, finished law school, became a leader in business and in college athletics. His success on the playing fields complemented his success in the classroom. And if you put that package together, Mike Garrett exemplifies the spirit that we want to instill in all of our students and in every facet of our university. He embodies grit, determination, and success, the very attributes that characterize our Cal State LA students. We strive to be our best, we strive to be the best, and we are today welcoming the best, our newest Golden Eagle, Mike Garrett.
It's great to be home. Welcome home, Mike. Many of you are too young to realize this, and some of my friends who showed up today know it, but I grew up in Monteville Projects. And I was here long before this campus was started. I was here when it first started. And I remember going to library here to study when I was at Roosevelt. I remember Cal State LA having dreams to become bigger than life. And as I hear today, I realize you have achieved that goal. Now it's to take it even further. I only want to do one thing while I'm here, is to find the best student athletes, educate them, graduate them, and win national championships. When I was being raised, I have two older sisters and a brother who went to Garfield, and I always thought I was going to be a bulldog. And then I moved in towards the city and lived on First and Evergreen, if any of you know where First and Evergreen is.
Yeah.
And Evergreen Cemetery is right there. And then I went to Roosevelt. The one thing I always felt and always wanted to happen was we got to have something that we're going to be very proud of in East L.A. that's going to be bigger than life. And now that I'm back, I'm going to tell you, the young people we have here for student athletes, they're going to be bigger than life. They're going to have the same background like I had, where I grew up poor, not all the best circumstances. But when we bring them to Cal State L.A., we're going to give them an education and leadership and understanding that only you can get here. And we're going to be very strong, and we're going to be very proud. I think of being the golden eagle. I think of being soaring above everyone else. I like winning. And I want to thank two people that made this happen. President Covino, I want to say thank you very much. I can't thank you enough. And Jose Gomez, the Chief Operating Officer. Jose, I owe you everything. Thank you. I don't want to keep talking because I'd rather have action be more important than words. But it's great to be a Golden Eagle. It's great to be in Cal State LA. And just importantly, we're going to do something in East Los Angeles that they've never seen before. Get ready. And all I'm going to tell you is, it's great to be a Golden Eagle. Thank you. Do you have any questions or comments or opinions?
Thank you.
Hey, welcome home, Mike.
My pleasure. Let me do this because I really want to introduce one person because, well, three people I want to introduce. Number one, George Plow. Stand up, please. He's the one that talked about East L.A. and Cal State L.A. And he's a graduate from Cal State L.A. And Richard Alatorre, a Garfolite, Bulldog. Richard's name precedes him, and then the last one I'm going to have Coach Al Padilla, coached me at Roosevelt, and then went to Garfield. And then one more I'm going to do. Henry Ronquillo is my Little League coach, became the Henry standout. Was the principal at Roosevelt High School for many years. These are the people who have shaped me and helped me tremendously. And I'm going to say this. We're going to dominate. We're going to hurt people. And it's great to be a Golden Eagle. Any comments or any opinions and any questions, I'll gladly address them now, but it is great to see you. Yes, Coach Padilla.
Well, first of all, I want to commend the administration for selecting Mike to make a tremendous decision, a correct one. And I'll tell you why. And I know all these athletes will back me up on this. I coached at East L.A. College for 25 years, and we call that a community college, but this is a university. But all the students there at East L.A., and I think a lot of you we consider Cal State L.A. as a community university. I mean, L.A. is a big city, right? Fullerton has their college, Northridge has their, and state colleges like that. But L.A. has Cal State here in East Los Angeles, and that's what we are proud of. All the students that come here, not all of them, but a great many of them there, we have financial problems usually. You know, one kid is another. And there's no better man than to pick this man for the job because he commiserates a will with all of you people. And you have problems, don't be afraid to go up and talk to him. Okay? No, don't be afraid to go up and talk to him. Because he'll talk to you in a very nice way, in an encouraging manner. And if he doesn't, you come and see me.
Well, thank you for showing, and we are going to have refreshments, and we can then talk privately. Any of you, or all of you, God bless. And one thing, let's go Golden Eagles. Let's start.
On three. 1, 2, and 3. More. 1, 2, and 3.
You know when you write state a little more, it's like national, you know?
I hesitate. And he sent me the last
I thought maybe because the dermatologist, so I thought I could maybe.
I'm Coach Al Padilla. I don't know how many of you know me, but I coached at Garfield, Roosevelt, and East L.A. College. And I was privileged to coach Mike Garrett in the B10 at Roosevelt High School in 1959. Was his first year in football. Taught him how to put on a uniform. But he was so good even then that he only lasted with me one game, and then he went on to the varsity. Went on to the varsity at Roosevelt High and played for 3 years on varsity. Ended up being all city running back. And then he went on to USC, of course, and played over there for 4 years. And he was the first Heisman Trophy winner for the Trojans. And they've had quite a few since then. But then what people don't realize that he went to, drafted by Kansas City. Kansas City was in the American Football League just starting up at that time. And then went to Kansas City. He played in the first Super Bowl that was held in Los Angeles here. And then he played also in the fourth Super Bowl for Kansas City. The first game was against the Green Bay Packers, and they lost that game to a great Green Bay team. But in the fourth Super Bowl, he was the leading ground gainer in that game. The best thing I can tell you about Mike is he's a tremendous person, a really good person. And even when he was already at USC, he would come back to Roosevelt in the summertime before the football season started, and he'd work out with the guys and teach them a few techniques in running with the football. So now that he's been promoted to Cal State L.A. as athletic director, I think he's a perfect fit. He's a community guy, grew up in Boyle Heights, and now he's in the place to be, especially for the students that come here to Cal State L.A. Because, you know, the students that we have here are from low economic backgrounds. And he grew up in that kind of a situation, and he's familiar with the students' problems. I'm sure he's going to help them develop into good students and go on to a good career. And that's really what it's all about. And people don't understand that we coaches work a great deal at that, is developing them as students. Because they have to be eligible to play. Mm-hmm. So anyhow, It's my privilege to talk about Mike, and he is one of 12 players that I had that played in the NFL. Yeah, had some great players. Well, now he'll have some players here at Cal State L.A. who have been very good players too. And one of the players that I'm proud of, that I coached at Garfield High School, and then he played here at Cal State L.A. And when they won the championship in football, John Bruno.
Can you talk about Mike Garrett? What do you remember about him playing in the East L.A. Classic?
Mike Garrett played in the East L.A. Classic. I can tell you about that. I'm kind of embarrassed to tell you about that because, you know, he played. I had to coach him, and the first year he was a very good player, and as a 10th grader in the East L.A. Classic. But the second year, he was a star player for Roosevelt, and I left Roosevelt, and I was the head coach at Garfield High School. And I had coached him already, so I knew how good he was. And also in that same backfield for Roosevelt was a tremendous player by the name of Ray Chavez. Ray Chavez was a fullback, inside power runner, and Mike was the outside sweep runner. So they had two great backs in their backfield at Roosevelt, and I had to stop them, you know. So that was a very tough assignment. And that was my first year as head coach at Garfield. Garfield hadn't beaten Roosevelt for 10 years. And that year, we managed to tie them in a 7-7 tie. So that was almost like a victory for us at Garfield. But here's the next part. The next year, I'm coaching Garfield my second year, and we won the East L.A. Eastern League Championship, okay? But in the big game against Roosevelt, Michael Garrett beat Garfield single-handedly. They beat us 35-13, and he scored 33 of the 35 points. He had 5 touchdowns and 3 two-point conversions. That's quite a bit, right? So I kid Mike and I said, hey, that was, what I like to call that is the road to the Heisman Trophy. And why do you say that, Coach? He says, because that great game got you started. You never had as great a game since then. Yeah. And I had some good players, but they just couldn't tackle you. You ran right over them. And that was the story of Mike's greatest game in the East L.A. Classic.
Okay. Back then, was it called the East L.A. Classic back then, or how did it get its name?
No. At that time, it hadn't gotten the name. In fact, there was a teacher there at Garfield High School. He was actually a journalistic teacher and English teacher, and he followed all the games, and he labeled the game East L.A. Classic. Yeah, he's the one that came up with the title. And of course, at that time, I was already gone from Garfield. I was at East L.A. College when they came up with that title. So, okay. And it's it was a good title.
Okay, a couple more questions about Garfield High School. Today, they're playing the second round playoffs versus Crenshaw. I don't know if you know about that. Garfield's been doing pretty good the last couple years. I'm not sure if you've been watching them lately.
I haven't been to watch them. I have a problem getting out at night to games, but they're very, very good. If they can cope with Crenshaw's speed, they can win the game. Because usually Garfield has some good size and some pretty good linemen. And you really win games in the line, especially the offensive line.
Okay, so thank you very much, Mr. Alpadilla.
You bet.